The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 91. Because De Bao suddenly turned into an infant, Jingwang had no choice but to let the servants know that Li Yu was already in labor. The midwife that was prepared ahead of time was also invited into the house. Jingwang still stood guard over the delivery room himself. In the last few days, Wang Shi had been paying close attention outside. When he abruptly heard the sound of an infant's cry, he was extremely delighted. However, after not seeing the little master for quite a while and feeling like 100 claws were scratching his heart, Wang Shi received news from Jingwang that said one had already arrived and there was more. After a moment of surprise, Wang Shi immediately became ecstatic. In the later periods, young Master Li's stomach was indeed larger than a usual pregnant woman. Wang Shi also guessed that perhaps there was more than just one. However, Jingwang didn't want to reveal anything carelessly. Wang Shi can only guess and didn't dare to spread it anywhere. Now that he learned that it was indeed twins, Wang Shi was so happy that he immediately started to pray to the heavens for protection. It's been said that having twins was very tiring and also very dangerous. Wang Shi hoped that young Master Li and the little masters would all be safe and well. Outside the labor room, Wang Shi and the servants were all waiting anxiously. Inside the labor room was another kind of scene. The midwife was one of Jingwang's loyal subordinates in disguise. They knew some medicine. After they entered, they started to wipe De Bao down and inspect his health. Also, they properly rewrapped the swaddling clothes that Li Yu had wrapped haphazardly. He's crying so tragically. Is he feeling uncomfortable somewhere? Li Yu asked quietly. When De Bao was a fish, he had never cried even once. Why would he cry so terribly after turning into a human? Over here, the loyal subordinate had already finished the examination and said respectfully, the little prince's body is extremely healthy. The loyal subordinate didn't actually know where this infant came from. The only thing she needed to know was that this was the little prince. Beyond that, she just answered whatever she was asked. As for why the little highness would cry, this was really very much the norm, all infants were like this. Li Yu, who still didn't know why De Bao was crying. Forget it. Fish Dad decided generously. He will just wait to ask De Bao when he got older and learn it to speak. De Bao's body was healthy, his crying loud and clear. Jingwang also felt relieved. Ever since he could remember, the imperial physicians had told him that his mute disability was hereditary and most likely would pass down to his children. Because he and Xiao Yu were both men, he didn't need to worry about this before. Later, when he unexpectedly learned that they had fish babies, Xiao Yu proudly told him that the fish babies all knew how to say dad. At that time Jingwang felt that perhaps his mute disability wouldn't pass down to the children of a Carpiao. However, it was ultimately impossible to hear the voices of fish babies in person. He was afraid Xiao Yu might be disappointed, so he didn't mention anything to Xiao Yu. Now that it's been proven that De Bao was fine, Jingwang finally didn't need to feel apprehensive anymore. After the devoted subordinates reported everything was well and De Bao had already transformed into an infant, now it was time for the other fish babies to follow suit. Jingwang ordered the loyal subordinate to temporarily move to another room, leaving this one to only himself and Li Yu. The two of them silently waited for the other fish babies to change forms. From pregnancy to birth, Jingwang thought of pretty much everything, nothing should be amiss. However, even with the two of them combined, they never imagined that the little fish babies would be changing altogether all at once. Instead, they were to be transformed one by one. Because De Bao suddenly changed, the other fish babies needed to change as quickly as possible to make this a successful labor. If a normal pregnant woman had multiple children at birth, they wouldn't be birthed too far apart after all. If it was every hour or even every 2 hours, that's fine. If the difference was a day or two, then it would be too unimaginable and too dangerous. Therefore, the current task right now was to make the remaining 3 fish babies transform as quickly as possible. They couldn't let this labor drag on for too long. Liu had thought that with De Bao as an example, the other babies should be fighting and trying to outdo each other in transforming. However, for some unknown reason, the remaining 3 fish babies were all huddled together, trembling and shaking. Liu waited for a while. Bao still didn't transformed. Things couldn't keep going like this. Liu gave Jingwang a look and then transformed back to a fish himself to go ask the fish babies what was going on. When he returned to fish form and swam into the fish tank, the fish babies immediately swam over and gathered around him. "Daddy! Daddy!" Bao, San Bao, and Si Bao cried in unison, "So scary. Big brother suddenly changed into a human." "Sob sob sob." Liu asked in amusement, "Don't you want to change into humans as well?" Bao, San Bao, and Si Bao all shook their heads in unison. "We don't want to." Liu, "Why?" Their fish dad felt that being a human was definitely more interesting than being a fish. Why would these baby fishes not want to transform? Bao said hesitatingly, "Daddy, I thought about it in the past, but after turning into human, big brother can't even move. I don't want to anymore." "Yes, transforming into human is so scary." San Bao agreed. "I also wanted to transform into human in the past, but big brother can't even speak. I'm afraid I'll become like big brother." Si Bao resolutely said, "Daddy, I won't transform into a human." Liu. Who would have thought that the war has not even won yet and these wide-eyed fish babies were already trying to mutiny? The 3 fish babies were huddled into a ball. Liu couldn't deal with them like this. He needed to first come up with a plan to break the 3 fish babies' alliance apart. Liu first threw a big piece of peach blossom cookie in Si Bao's direction. Si Bao immediately forgot about his older brothers and turned his attention to chowing on the peach blossom cookie. Liu separately attacked the remaining Bao and San Bao. He knew that of these 2 babies, one loved to eat and the other loved pretty things, so he focused on their individual preferences. Liu said patiently to Bao, "Changing into a human is actually pretty nice. You can be like daddy. Other than peach blossom cookies and fish food, you'll be able to eat plenty of other delicious foods. And you can play with the little ducklings as much as you want." When Bao heard that there was a lot of delicious food to eat, his eyes practically lit up. He also really liked the little ducklings, however, Dad never allowed him to get close. So if he changed into a human, he would be allowed. For the sake of food and fun, Bao felt his heart beat with eagerness. Liu then said to San Bao, "After you change into a human, you can wear clothes just like daddy and put on a lot of shiny dazzling jewelry." San Bao, who loved pretty things, "Oh, daddy, I really like shiny things. I also want to wear same robes as daddy's." Although San Bao was an extremely pretty silver fish, he couldn't transform back and forth. No matter how pretty something was, after looking at it for a long time, one would tire of it. Moreover, he was a fish. However, Fish Dad was able to change his clothes every day without wearing the same thing twice. San Bao was very envious. Just like Bao, San Bao changed his mind as well. Liu didn't spend much effort to persuade these 2. He said with a smile, "So do you boys want to try changing into humans?" Bao and San Bao exchanged looks and happily nodded their heads, "All right." They just finished speaking when Bao and San Bao transformed in unison into a pair of infants almost the same size as their big brother. Jingwang was standing guard at the side. He swiftly picked up these 2. Liu jumped onto Jingwang's shoulder in his fish form and went to look at Bao and San Bao. They actually looked just like De Bao and had chubby little faces. Liu couldn't help but feel sour briefly. How come they didn't look like him even though he was the one who birthed them all? After a while, Air Bao and San Bao also started wailing loudly. Perhaps because the two babies didn't immediately receive the delicious food, fun, and pretty clothes they were promised, they felt deeply heartbroken. Liu thought guiltily, just wait until you boys grow up, then you'll have all of those. Now that Air Bao and San Bao had transformed, the only obstinate fish baby who wouldn't change was Si Bao. Si Bao was still vigorously eating the peach blossom cookie. When he raised his head, he discovered that all of his older brothers had disappeared. Fish Dad was currently looking at him kindly. Si Bao, do you want to change into a human? Si Bao shook off the food crumbs on his fin. I don't want to. Liu attempted to motivate him like he motivated Air Bao and San Bao. There's delicious food, fun games, and pretty clothes if you become human. Si Bao, don't you want any of that? Don't want. Si Bao said loudly, Si Bao has the peach blossom cookie that Dad gave me to eat. And I can play together with Dad. Si Bao doesn't like pretty clothes. Liu, then what does Si Bao like? Si Bao replied, I like Daddy and Father the best. Liu felt warmth spread in his heart. Following Si Bao's words, he asked, then can Si Bao help Daddy with something? Si Bao scrambled to nod his head. To be able to help Daddy, the simple Si Bao felt like he was much more amazing than his older brothers. Liu was very experienced with coaxing his children by now. He said to Si Bao, if you can transform into a human, then you'll be helping Daddy a lot. Can Si Bao do this? This time, Si Bao replied without even thinking, I can. Liu thought that Si Bao would transform as soon as he agreed, but Si Bao didn't. After Si Bao agreed, he wagged his tail very earnestly at Liu. Liu and Si Bao stared at each other, big eyes against small eyes. After waiting for a while, Liu didn't understand what's going wrong. Si Bao, how come you haven't changed? Liu couldn't resist urging. Si Bao looked at his own fish body and spread open his short tiny fish fins. He yelled loudly experimentally, transform. However, he still remained a little fish, without any changes at all. Liu. Si Bao. Liu. Liu abruptly realized something. Si Bao, do you know how to transform into human? Si Bao whined, no. I don't know. If this fish baby didn't change soon, this might become a difficult labor. Under the danger of exposing himself as a system fish, Liu reminded the slow Si Bao, isn't there something called system that is telling you to do a mission? N? Yep. He's very annoying. I ignored him. Daddy, am I very well behaved? Si Bao felt like the system wasn't anything good. Liu. You can listen to it this time. Liu forcefully suppressed the desire to rub his forehead and taught Si Bao, just do as it says and you should be able to transform. Really? Si Bao finally understood and spun 2 circles where he swam while mumbling quietly to himself. Liu thought he still didn't understand, but Si Bao suddenly wagged his tail and swam over. He used his fish mouth to affectionately nudge Liu. Daddy! Si Bao yelled happily. He wanted to say, I can finally do it now. However, he didn't even finish speaking when he disappeared. At the same time, a small infant appeared before Liu. The infant had a pair of dark black eyes that looked like the night sky and curly hair. His skin was very fair and he was quiet like a little angel. He looked towards Liu and gave him a smile, revealing a toothless grin. Congratulations, host. The side quest Grow Big and Become Human has been completed. Please accept the rewards. After Liu finished incubating the eggs, the system became the same as before. The main mission sank into a complicated moment of computation and examination and has not issued any new tasks for a while. The only task that was progressing lately was the side quest of helping the fish babies grow. The time it took to complete the side quest was somewhat long. The description now said that the children have all successfully completed the metamorphosis of changing from a fish into a human and become people of this world. Meanwhile, Li Yu looked at the empty and spacious fish tank, which only had him alone now, and he felt somewhat sentimental. Li Yu had asked the shitty system before about the mission that the fish babies needed to do to transform. The system was all secretive and didn't actually want to tell him the details. Li Yu only knew generally that the task wasn't hard. After the fish babies finished the task, they could change into infants. However, they wouldn't be able to obtain any transformation skill from it. Before the age of 7, they won't be able to change back into their fish form. If they still remembered their experiences as a fish at the age of 7, and were willing to try to change back into a fish at that time, the system would issue new missions to them that will allow them to obtain the transformation skill. If they have forgotten by that time after obtaining a new way of life, it wasn't actually a bad thing. Li Yu was in a daze. He knew this was the road that his children must take. However, knowing was one thing. To not be able to see the lively and vigorous fish babies again for such a long time still made him feel an unavoidable sense of sadness. Just as he was feeling sorrowful, a hand reached over and gently rubbed his back. He leaned against it, like grabbing onto a floating piece of wood, leaning firmly on this hand. Regardless if the children will remember this experience in the future, or if they will remember their fish dad, Li Yu still had Jingwang to accompany him by his side. His Highness would never allow him to feel lonely. Li Yu very quickly calmed down and wrapped his tail around Jingwang's fingers. The people outside had been waiting for too long. It was time to show the children to the world. Li Yu jumped into the crystal bottle himself. Jingwang still carried him so that he could also see the children like this. There were no more issues. Jingwang waved the jade bell. As soon as Wang Shi heard his master's summons, he charged in like an arrow. Outside, Wang Gonggong had heard the sound of 3 infants crying and was so happy he couldn't stop grinning. However, when he entered, what he saw was 4 little young masters. Heavens! This is really a great jubilation. After being stunned for a moment, Wang Shi knelt down, kowtowed and thanked all of the gods he knew. Jingwang gained noble sons. On that same day, the childbirth expert physician arrived at the west frontier and rushed over relentlessly to Jingwang's estate in Lufeng town. After learning that young Master Li gave birth to 4 sons all in one go, the imperial physician couldn't even believe it. Young Master Li, who had just given birth, needed to recuperate quietly. Jingwang didn't allow anyone to disturb him. Even the imperial physician had to assess his pulse through the many layers of curtains. After the physician finished assessing young Master Li's pulse, he went to look at the 4 little princes who were just born. A man becoming pregnant was really such a fantastical story. The emperor's secret order was for the physician to verify the identities of Jingwang's supposed children. The physician originally planned to obtain a drop of blood from young Master Li to verify. Therefore, he first apologized towards Jingwang. Jingwang shook his head. How could he willingly allow the physician to disturb Li Yu? Stopping the physician, he rolled up his own sleeve instead. After a moment of surprise, the physician recovered and hastily retrieved Jingwang's blood. In comparison to knowing whether young Master Li could really become pregnant, the emperor naturally was more interested in knowing if these children were actually of Jingwang's blood. After the test, the little princes were indeed all Jingwang's sons. Furthermore, each of the children's lungs cried louder than the next. They weren't actually mutes like the emperor had worried about. This was really great news. The imperial physician wrote a report himself and sent it back to the imperial capital with extreme urgency. End chapter. The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 92. The hand that the emperor used to hold the report shook non-stop. He was so terrified that he had read wrong. The imperial physician reported that Jingwang had 4 healthy sons and none of them were mute. The emperor pressed the report against his chest and took a deep breath. He had once thought that his and Empress Xiao Hui's bloodline would perhaps end with Jingwang, however. Jingwang actually ended up having healthy children, not to mention 4. No news could be more invigorating than this. The emperor laughed out loud heartily, no longer caring about Jingwang's little offense previously. With the sudden addition of 4 children, the emperor was too busy being happy to care. He swiftly summoned Luo Ruisheng over to receive his imperial edict. Meanwhile, he picked up the brush and wrote it with his own hands. Li Yu would be given the title of Jingwang's princess consort. Jingwang's eldest son would be the heir apparent. The second son would be a 5th-ranked cloud cavalry officer, the third son would be a 7th-ranked grace cavalry officer. The emperor was too happy and granted 4 titles in quick succession, still mumbling to himself, this position of princess consort is a marriage appointment and not a reward for service. Li Yu and Jingwang both have made meritorious contributions. Therefore, nobility will be bestowed upon these little imperial grandsons. Luo Ruisheng watched from the side, mouth twitching. Seeing the emperor also giving Jingwang's youngest son the title of Grace Cavalry Officer as well, Luo Ruisheng said to himself, back then, wasn't the one who refused to give the main wife position also you? Now, see how quickly your attitude has changed. However, now head steward Luo also knew whose big thigh he should be hugging in the future. To be honest, this was also fated. It's not that the emperor didn't have any other imperial grandsons. For example, the one from the Marquis of An's family have not entered the imperial palace for a long time now. The emperor couldn't even remember him. Another example was the ones from the third prince's family. The oldest was already 6 years old, the youngest was 3 years old. Lately, the third prince often instigated them to appear frequently in front of the emperor. However, these grandsons were all taught in the same manner. Every time the emperor thought to meet them, he would felt easily bored upon seeing them as he found himself unable to become interested in them. In total, he only met them a few times. Unlike with Jingwang's family, the emperor hadn't even met them yet but he was already thinking about them. He even already bestowed them nobility status. This was really a rare occasion. Head steward Luo was very astute and purposely picked words that the emperor loved to hear and said, this servant heard the imperial physician commented that the 3 of the imperial grandsons all look extremely like His Highness Jingwang. The youngest imperial grandson looks more like young Master Li. The emperor had never seen Li Yu before but he remembered how Jingwang looked when he was young. Recalling it for a moment, he said, if that was really the case, it would be pretty interesting. The emperor was really anxious to see his little royal grandsons. After he learned from Luo Ruisheng that the little royal grandsons looked like Jingwang, he wanted to see them even more. He heard that lately, Jingwang had been managing the west frontier pretty well. However, it still couldn't compare to the imperial palace. It's better not to let the little royal grandson suffer there. The emperor originally planned to order Jingwang to stay out of the capital and gain experience for 2 more years. Now that his son had children, the emperor practically wished that Jingwang could fly back immediately. Fortunately, head steward Luo managed to persuade him against that notion with repeated advice. The little royal grandsons were just born. How can they endure the hardship of such a long journey? Finally, the emperor dropped the subject. He realized that he was a bit overly ecstatic. If he wanted to summon them for a visit, naturally it was better to wait until the children grew a little bigger. This year, Jingwang had made plenty of contributions at the west frontier. The emperor was very satisfied with everything. In comparison, the 6th prince, who only managed to finish renovating the Zhonkui palace, seemed extremely plain. Now that Jingwang had healthy legitimate sons, even if he couldn't speak, this issue was no longer that big a deal. The scale in the emperor's heart inevitably tilted towards Jingwang's side. Considering the fact that Jingwang's entire family was at the west frontier, before Jingwang returned to the imperial city, the emperor decided it was best to not announce the news of Jingwang's children to the public. The emperor ordered Luo Ruisheng to secretly send the imperial edict and leak the news to the former Duke of Cheng'an along the way. As Jingwang's maternal grandfather, the former Duke of Cheng'an deserved to know about this joyous occasion. In order to avoid exposing this news, the emperor also ordered Xuěshān to avoid speaking about it. As for Xuěshān, he was the first to know that Jingwang had sons. He was so happy that tears flowed down his old face. The emperor's instructions made him think that something might be amiss. After pondering for a while, he suddenly realized something. Xuěshān kept his conclusion to himself. He only ordered for the gates of Chang'an Palace to be tightly shut. Then he summoned an opera troupe to perform for 3 days and 3 nights. These days, the old man felt invigorated. His weakened body had also become stronger. The emperor finally relented and appointed Liu as Jingwang's official princess consort. Different from the reply from the last time, this time, the emperor wrote a proper, imperial edict, finalizing this matter. Jingwang already predicted this conclusion. Next, he started to earnestly request for the emperor to permit him to hold a wedding at the west frontier. The emperor originally wasn't willing. As a father, how could he not appear at his son's grand wedding? However, because of the birth of his grandsons, it would be inexcusable if they didn't hold the wedding ceremony soon. The emperor couldn't leave the imperial city though. After weighing the pros and cons repeatedly, he had no choice but to permit Jingwang's request. Immediately afterwards, Jingwang handed a list of names to the emperor. These were the names of the merchants who stored the ducks and tried to sell them for enormous amount while he was dealing with the locust plague. The emperor understood that here, Jingwang had received benefits from what happened but still wanted to complain. Moreover, this was also a rather smart complaint. Jingwang made the emperor investigate it himself and didn't get involved. Ever since the emperor sent Jingwang off to the west frontier, the emperor had ordered people to watch the news and information being exchanged between the imperial city and the west frontier. With the addition of this list of names, the emperor very quickly discovered that these profiteers actually were following the commands of someone in the background. In those days that Jingwang was dealing with the locust plague, only the Marquis of Jinyi sent messages to the west frontier. Furthermore, the leader of the merchants storing ducks was a distant relative of the wife of a government official with the surname of Qin. Official Qin worked in the Ministry of Rights. Marquis of Jinyi's family was in-laws of the third prince. Official Qin was part of the third prince's faction and often did things for him. It was obvious whose orders they followed. When the imperial guards investigated official Qin, they also discovered something else. Back then, before Jingwang even reached the west frontier, someone had spread rumors in the west frontier, saying that Jingwang had a ruthless personality and was terrible to the common people. This was also something that official Qin ordered people to spread around. The imperial guards even found the exchanged letters inside the Qin estate. There was a lot of evidence. The emperor was shocked. Mu Tianming was right under his eyes and presently only allowed to attend class in the imperial study. Yet he was still able to extend his hand into the west frontier, wanting to harm Jingwang. The emperor originally didn't plan to do anything to the third prince as he wanted to give the third prince a chance, but it seemed that the third prince didn't want it. With a cold face, the emperor first punished the insubordinate Marquis of Jinyi and demoted the Marquis of Jinyu's rank to the lowest possible. Then he bestowed the third prince the title of Marquis of Ping. With the second prince receiving the title of the Marquis of An before him, the two people had now became a pair. After learning that the emperor had completely given up on him, Mu Tianming staggered to the gates of the imperial palace. The imperial guards on duty at the entrance blocked the way and refused to let the third prince entrance. The only thing that the third prince could do was kneel down facing the direction of Ganqing Palace, weeping bitter tears and kowtowing non-stop. "Imperial father, please let me see you once, I'm begging you. It really wasn't me." Every time Mu Tianming kowtowed, he would implore desperately. He really couldn't explain it very well. The Marquis of Jinyi was indeed helping him gather information. However, that was it. He never incited the Marquis of Jinyi to do anything else. Why official Qin would cause trouble, he also didn't know. Even more so, he didn't know how those instigating letters, which were written in similar handwriting to his own, had ended up in the Qin family's study. However, the emperor already resolutely believed that it was him and didn't want to hear any of his explanation at all. The third prince knelt for an entire day and night. A large rainstorm fell from the sky which soaked his heart cold. Just as he was feeling faint and about to lose consciousness, an oil-covered paper umbrella moved over and was held up slowly over the top of the third prince's head. Mu Tianming raised both eyes and crossed gazes with Mu Tianxiao, whose face was full of concern. Under the umbrella, the sixth prince still maintained his usual elegant and refined countenance. Third elder brother. Be careful not to catch a cold. Mu Tianxiao extended a hand over, wanting to help Mu Tianming to get up. Everyone says the sixth prince was a devoted follower of the third prince. Even though the third prince had fallen, the sixth prince still remained by his side. But who knew that at this moment, Mu Tianming felt even colder than being drenched by the rain. Mu Tianxiao, let me ask you. Mu Tianming smacked away the sixth prince's hand, wiped his face and said in a heavy voice, was that official Qin received the orders from you? Mu Tianming had given his command sigil to Mu Tianxiao. Since that official Qin wasn't prompted by him, then the only other person who could was Mu Tianxiao. It was Mu Tianxiao who had plotted all of this behind his back, yet it caused the emperor to put the blame all on him. Third elder brother, you finally realized. Mu Tianxiao smiled lightly, idly turning the umbrella and watching the raindrops fall down. I originally wanted to cause some trouble for Jingwang so I can gain power quicker. This was all for your sake. You lie. You're clearly abusing my trust and making me your stepping stone. You forget how you had nothing before. Who was it that helped you up and gave you official assignments to do? Mu Tianming became riled up and angrily grabbed Mu Tianxiao's collar, almost wishing that he could choke this white-eyed wolf to death. Mu Tianxiao didn't resist and allowed the third prince to shake him for a while. Then he smiled and said, Third elder brother, it's already like this. I advise you to best calm down. Mu Tianxiao pried open Mu Tianming's fingers one by one. Mu Tianming surprisingly discovered that the sixth prince actually had such strength. Mu Tianxiao smoothed out the wrinkles in his clothes and said leisurely, Third elder brother, Imperial Father will never believe you anymore. Everything you say is useless. If you quietly and peacefully go about your duty as the Marquis of Ping, on the day that I ascend the throne, who knows, perhaps I'd still remember our friendship in the past. You dare, how could Mu Tianming stand such humiliation? He attempted to attack again. Imperial guards already appeared behind Mu Tianxiao and hastily restrained Mu Tianming. With a cold smile, Mu Tianxiao turned around, do as you wish, third elder brother. Excuse me for not accompanying you. Holding the umbrella, Mu Tianxiao walked into the pouring rain by himself, completely ignoring the insults and anguished howls that Mu Tianming shouted behind him. At this point, Mu Tianxiao could be regarded as completely free of the third prince. In a worryless and happy mood, he returned to his estate. Immediately, he heard a report from his loyal subordinate. The emperor had agreed to Jingwang marriage request. Li Yu was appointed as Jingwang's princess consort. Mu Tianxiao couldn't help but scoff out loud. Marrying a man as the main wife, Jingwang probably won't be able to make any waves now. He was just feeling pleased when his loyal subordinate took a step back and said quietly, Your Highness, just now news also came from the west frontier saying that Jingwang has 4 healthy legitimate sons. Mu Tianxiao, what? Mu Tianxiao's face was full of alarm. Wasn't Jingwang about to marry a man? Where did these 4 sons come from? And why were they all healthy? Was there some kind of mistake? Mu Tianxiao couldn't believe the loyal subordinate's words. With lightning speed, he snatched the secret report from the subordinate's hands and started reading each word himself. The 6th prince didn't have many subordinates at the west frontier. they were unable to infiltrate into Jingwang's estate. The so-called secret report contained about the same knowledge as what the peasants of Lufeng town knew. Jingwang really did have healthy sons. With this, Jingwang's disability was no longer an irredeemable blemish. The sixth prince examined everything he knew but still couldn't figure out where these children came from. However, he had already considered the result of Jingwang having children. If Jingwang had no disability, what advantage did he have to win against Jingwang? The half a year of hard work he spent renovating a palace? Or his birth mother who was once a palace maid? With great difficulty, he had finally walked to where he was currently under the third prince's protection. He was just about to marry a high-born lady of nobility. He was just about to gain the support of the Yu family. The third prince's power and influence were now all under his control. He was walking on the right path, step by step, to the position of a ruler. Yet, was the mere fact that Jingwang had sons about to snatch away everything that was within his grasp? He definitely couldn't allow this to happen. The sixth prince read the secret report repeatedly, determined to find any mistakes Jingwang had made. Meanwhile, the impeccable Jingwang was at the moment, hard-pressed and under pressure. Wang Shi saw the 4 children as 4 lucky stars and found the best wet nurse possible for them. However, after eating a few meals of milk after their day of birth, these 4 lucky stars only cared about crying after that. They weren't even willing to eat anymore and actually became 4 little ancestors. When the imperial physicians were summoned to check them out, they couldn't figure out what the problem was either. This really made Li Yu extremely worried. What's very strange was that whenever he picked up the children, the sound of the infants crying would soften. However, if he tried to hand them over to the wet nurse, the children would scream until they were red in the face, one gasping for air harder than the next. Looks like they developed the habit when they were fish, now they couldn't be without fish dad at all. Li Yu was secretly delighted that the children still thought of him. However, if the little infants didn't drink milk, they wouldn't be able to last. Did this mean that he had to feed them milk himself? Feeding little infants wasn't like feeding fish. However, it seemed pretty interesting. Li Yu excitedly rubbed his hands together and said, "Why don't I give it a try?" Jingwang. Jingwang glanced at Li Yu's flat chest for a second and couldn't help but let his imagination wander. Were Carpio born with such skills? Other than being able to give birth, could they also breastfeed? End chapter. The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 93. Li Yu felt that the gaze that Jingwang shot towards him was somewhat burning. However, the little infant's wailing for food was more urgent, so Li Yu didn't have time to think about it too much. There were no feeding bottles in ancient times. Li Yu used an improvised method. He asked the wet nurse to squeeze the milk into a bowl. Picking up De Bao, he used an extremely tiny silver spoon, scooping a little each time to place in De Bao's mouth. De Bao kept yelling "ah" and shook his head vigorously. Li Yu. Got it? So this baby probably didn't like to drink milk. Li Yu recalled that he had fed the fish babies high-quality fish food and peach blossom cookies. The issue was probably related to that. The fish babies liked tasty and sweet foods, not the bland milk. However, what else could he do right now? This was a completely different circumstance. The little infants haven't grown up yet. They didn't even have teeth and could only drink milk right now. Li Yu said warmly, "De Bao, if you don't drink milk, you will starve." De Bao. Threatened warmly by Fish Dad, De Bao made a face. Then with tears in his eyes, he finished drinking the milk in the spoon. Li Yu was successful in his first attempt to feed the baby milk. When he went to give a second attempt, De Bao accidentally choked and absolutely refused to drink with the spoon again. Thinking for a moment, Li Yu ordered someone to bring over a plate of peach blossom cookies and put it to the side. De Bao's black glass-like eyes gazed at the peach blossom cookies with longing. However, it was no use. The cold-hearted fish dad only allowed him to take a whiff of the peach blossom cookie, which slightly distracted De Bao. However, what ended up being fed into his stomach by fish dad was still milk. Jingwang, who's been watching all of this. Jingwang realized that his thoughts had run completely off course. Feeding milk wasn't what he was thinking about. He walked towards Li Yu. Li Yu was focused on holding De Bao, humming some unknown tune with his mouth. When Jingwang came close, he saw Li Yu's gentle expression and felt his heart soften as well. Learning from Li Yu, Jingwang picked one of the baby up and fed him with a spoon, glancing over at Li Yu from time to time. Li Yu secretly snickered to himself. The one that Jingwang had picked up was Sibao. The other three babies all looked like the little fatty. Only Sibao looked more like himself. Jingwang loved to hold Sibao the most. Whenever Sibao got held by Father Jingwang, he would give a happy smile. As expected of the most simple-minded baby. He probably didn't even feel the difference between milk and fish food. As long as Father was feeding him, Sibao began to eat extremely quickly. Jingwang finished feeding him and went to pick up Airbao, but Sibao grabbed tightly onto Father's lapel with his fingers and refused to leave his arms. Over on Li Yu's side, he finished feeding De Bao and was also grabbed. Li Yu had been coaxing De Bao for quite a while. Airbao and Sanbao, who hadn't received the hugs they were waiting for, started wailing their lungs out again. Exasperated, Li Yu and Jingwang could only hold two babies between the two of them. Li Yu felt like the four boys were definitely much more well behaved when they were still fish. When it was time to go to sleep at night, the babies still wouldn't let go. With a reddened face, Li Yu discussed with Jingwang, "Your Highness, they're still so small and probably not used to it. Why not just let them sleep together with us?" Before, when the fish babies were inside the fish tank, they stayed in the same room with their fathers together. Fish dad often slept together with them as well. How come after becoming infants they had to sleep with a stranger, the wet nurse? The babies were all unwilling. How come being human wasn't even as good as being fishes? They couldn't move, couldn't talk, and needed to drink flavorless milk every day. Such bitter hardship. The fish babies wanted hugs from daddy. Sob, sob, sob. Jingwang had always doted on Li Yu. Since Li Yu said so, he resisted the urge to carry the four babies out and nodded. Li Yu first placed the babies on the bed and then lay down. Now that his transformation duration had increased to 4 hours, it was no longer an issue for him to take a little rest for a while. Jingwang would take care of the rest for him. Who knew that as soon as he laid down, the children immediately stretched out their necks trying to reach him. When they couldn't reach him, they started to howl again. Li Yu can only place all of the babies next to him. De Bao occupied one of Li Yu's arms by himself. Airbao and Sanbao took the other one. The remaining Sibao clenched onto Li Yu's leg tightly. The babies all became satisfied this way. Li Yu was completely surrounded in a pile. Jingwang, who deeply felt like his young wife had moved further and further away from him. Li Yu touched his fingers and looked at him apologetically. Jingwang held his hand in response and lightly squeezed his palm. The little infants had limits to their energy. They were also full from drinking milk. Not long after, they fell into the land of sleep. Jingwang waited until these four babies were sleeping deeply before getting up with an expressionless face. He carried all four of them outside and gave them to the wet nurse. Originally, Li Yu was surrounded by the babies and almost fell asleep himself. Suddenly, he felt a chill to his front. Oh! It's the hubby coming closer. Li Yu hooked his arms around the other's shoulder with experience. He and Jingwang's husband and husband life was very harmonious. Every few days, they would absorb essence. Pregnancy aside, Li Yu actually looked forward to absorbing essence pretty much. However, Jingwang seemed not quite the same today and was on the mission to do the task of absorbing essence all by himself. Face completely flushed, Li Yu felt both numb and tingly. Tears gathered non-stop in his eyes. He felt like originally there wasn't really anything there, but now, with Jingwang's vigorous sucking, something was almost about to come out. Was it because he had bitten Jingwang there before, so now Jingwang was retaliating? Li Yu couldn't stand this kind of stimulation, feeling like his soul was almost about to be sucked out. He smacked Jingwang twice with his fists as he cried out loud. Jingwang, who was enthusiastically sucking the carpiao, gave a glance at the silver hourglass and finally let Li Yu off after eating his fill. He turned to hold Li Yu's waist instead. The next day when they had to feed the baby's milk, Jingwang was looking down and focusing on feeding Sibao. Li Yu carried the bao, feeling his chest all swollen and sore, legs still trembling even now. Recalling the absurdity that occurred last night, Li Yu couldn't help but glare at the culprit behind all of this. Sensing his burning gaze, Jingwang gave Li Yu a smile and licked his lips deliberately. Li Yu. Clearly, Jingwang can't even speak. So what's up with this unrestrained wave of lechery smacking him in the face? Ah, forget it. Actually, it wasn't a bad thing that the hubby is a bit vigorous. It's not like he was losing out here. Under Li Yu's consoling, De Bao and the other boys became more and more used to the life of infants. At this time, the imperial edict arrived from the imperial palace. Li Yu was granted the title of princess consort. Jingwang achieved what he promised and really did obtain the title of main wife for him. Li Yu almost couldn't believe it himself. This wasn't something that's casually used amongst peasants. Instead, his name will be entered into the official Jade document. With the emperor himself recognizing Li Yu as Jingwang's princess consort. His and Jingwang's marriage was already set in stone. When the imperial edict arrived, Jingwang set a date for their grand wedding. Wang Shi had already been preparing for the wedding. Everything was ready, it didn't matter when the wedding was held. Jingwang was only annoyed by the fact that the next closest auspicious day was too far away and that he had to wait a few more days. Li Yu was quite amused by this man's rare moment of childishness. Every time he thought about the fact that they already had children and yet Jingwang still wanted to give him a proper wedding ceremony, Li Yu felt like his heart was rolled around and covered in sweet honey. We already received the emperor's approval. It's only waiting for a little longer. Don't worry, Your Highness. Li Yu coaxed him with a smile. Jingwang ate plenty of benefits here but still purposely huffed childishly, wanting Li Yu to comfort him in order to calm down. At the same time, he indicated to Wang Shi to use the moment to verify every step of the wedding one more time. Wang Gonggong very quickly finished verifying everything. The only thing left was the wedding outfits. One of the most important aspects of the wedding ceremony was the wedding robes. Jingwang already had several outfits created for his grand wedding according to appropriate measurements. Every detail of the embroidery was checked personally by Jingwang's own eyes. All of the jewelry and decorations were also created by artisans from Jingwang's drawings. Therefore, it was guaranteed that they were one of a kind in the entire world. Li Yu had never actually tried out the princess consort's wedding outfit and headpieces. However, according to all of the outfits that Jingwang had designed for him in the past, this surprise would be totally worth it. Finally, it was the wedding day. Jingwang personally brought the wedding outfit to Li Yu and handed it to him. There weren't many servants inside the estate. Li Yu also didn't have a family. Therefore, Jingwang stepped forth himself and helped Li Yu bind his hair and get dressed. Li Yu quickly switched into the bright red wedding outfit, which had gold linings. The material of this wedding outfit was weaved from precious moonlight silk. It's said that clothes made from moonlight silk, when worn, would emit a beautiful radiance like the moon, that's where it got its name. Other than the moonlight silk, the wedding outfit was also embroidered by gold thread and phoenix feather thread, which created an image of rolling clouds and an impressive-looking koi. This koi was leaping high into the air, over the dragon's gate. The outfit's collar and long drape in the back were stitched full of fish scales, shining like gold and was extremely gorgeous. The belt that matched the wedding outfit was made of soft gold silk, which was braided into the appearance of water grass. The belt looked very big and wide, but in reality, it was very light and convenient. There were some charming little gold fishes hanging from the belt, which made jingling sounds. The wedding head ornament was a ruby and pearl crown. The crown was made up of a total of 36 little gold fishes. The fishes' whole bodies were embedded with red gems. In the fishes' mouths were strings of pearls that spilled downward, slightly covering his face, making it seem faintly indiscernible. Liu didn't use makeup before. On this big day, he also only used a bit, dabbing rouge on his lips to make them seem brighter and more attractive. Seeing that this outfit suited Liu appropriately, Jingwang smiled and went to get dressed himself. Wang Shi, who was standing by to the side, couldn't resist putting in a good word for his master. "Your Highness the Princess Consort, according to customs, your wedding robes should have been embroidered with a golden phoenix, but His Highness specifically asked the Emperor for permission to change the wedding robes to its current design." Wang Shi was responsible for getting the wedding prepared. He was most aware of how much effort Jingwang put into this. Jingwang himself didn't mind it and didn't ask for any gratitude, but Wang Gonggong had a very talkative mouth and revealed everything to the princess consort. Liu has seen Yeching Huan and the princess wedding outfits before. Who would have thought there would be such details that went into the embroidery of the robes? Liu felt extremely touched. A moment later, Jingwang switched into a black-colored wedding gown that matched his. Liu carefully examined it. On Jingwang's robe was an imperial design, 4-clawed golden dragon. His belt was the same kind of water grass, and hanging from it was the pearl that Liu had once given him. His sleeves and drape arrangements were fish scales that matched Liu's. Wasn't this secretly making a public display of affection? Liu cheerfully gave himself a like for having a perceptive pair of eyes. Jingwang walked over and lowered his head, wanting to kiss Liu. A piece of red string was exposed around his neck. Liu smiled naughtily and tugged the red string out with his finger, wanting to see what Jingwang was wearing on his big day. Liu himself was wearing Jingwang's little jade figure. After pulling Jingwang's necklace out, as expectedly, it was his stonefish. Placed together, they looked like an ideal match made in heaven. "Your Highness, Princess Consort. The blessed moment is almost here." Wang Shi happily wiped the corner of his eyes. Under their sleeves, Jingwang found Liu's hand and held it. The two of them exchanged glances. Liu didn't have any family. The Jing estate was his family. Jingwang carried him onto the marriage carriage and also sat inside himself. The decorative marriage carriage made a circle around Lufeng town and then returned to the Jing estate for the wedding ceremony. On Jingwang's big day, plenty of peasants came to observe and follow the marriage carriage. Liu lifted open the curtain and looked at the numerous crowd of people below, somewhat nervous. Jingwang gave him an encouraging look. Liu waved experimentally towards the civilians. The civilians knelt down in succession and shouted loudly, "Princess Consort, 1,000 years." The sound of the voices shook the place and made all of the magpies fly into the air. Liu was overwhelmed with emotions. At this moment, he really felt like he had become a member of this ancient society. De Bao, Air Bao, San Bao, and Si Bao laid side by side next to each other on the bed. Today, there was only the wet nurse, no daddies. The boys' hearts were dead like dust. Distant joyous sounds traveled in from the outside. Si Bao recalled that just now the wet nurse was talking with someone, saying that their fathers were getting married. Si Bao didn't know what getting married was, but it must be a good thing. Si Bao jumped up like a carp but didn't manage to stand up. Si Bao waved his hands wildly and kicked his legs vigorously. The daddies are getting married. I want to go. Following his example, San Bao gestured with his hands and feet, AAA. I want to go. Air Bao whipped his head over, How to get there? Air Bao, San Bao, and Si Bao took turns and AAA'd for a while, reaching an agreement. Then, with Si Bao in the lead, they tried their best to roll off the bed. To see their fathers getting married, they had to first get off the bed. Although the little infants didn't have much strength, they could still reach their destination by rolling. However, they didn't even reach 1 month old. After they flipped over with their little bodies, they couldn't turn anymore. Air bow, sand bow, and sea bow all ended up laying on the bed, face down. Help! De Bow, who had witnessed all of this. De Bow waved his hand. Idiots. End chapter.